Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sree and I am also joined by my co-host 𝙒𝙧𝙤𝙪 and we bring you daily global insights 335. A lot going around the world, but we are going to bring you everything in 10 minutes or so. So let's go ahead and welcome our co-host 𝙒𝙧𝙤𝙪. 𝙒𝙧𝙤, namaskar and welcome to PGurus channel, sir.
Namaskar, good morning to everybody and looking forward to another exciting 10 minutes.
𝙒𝙧𝙤, Indian Commerce Minister is to attend Indo-Pacific Economic Forum in person in United States next month. And India's macro fundamentals are strong to thwart economic headwinds, says Indian Finance Ministry. Inflation, growth, external balances, and engagement all look positive. 𝙒𝙧𝙤, in this, every country is facing a lot of inflationary problems, yet India seems to have successfully ridden the worst of it, because I'm on the ground, just like you are, in and out of India, and I'm on the ground. I don't see that much of inflation, except my taxi cab fare has gone up by about 20%. Other than that, I haven't seen any big changes like rice, pulses. These things are pretty decent, sir.
Well, I think that first and foremost, I think the fact that this Indo-Pacific Economic Framework, the first meeting has been called by United States, is a reflection of the importance that United States is placing on the trade. And one of the first people who has announced his presence there is the India's Commerce Minister. So India's representation will be well heard out in that framework. And India, I think, is at the front and center of this. Now, to respond to your second question, which is namely, I think this is where you have to give a lot of kudos to Modi. If you recall that this concept of strategic flexibility and nation as the priority that Modi has consistently used and applied and advocated through both Ajit Doval and most importantly through the External Affairs Minister, when he was the first person to source energy at concessional and discounted prices from Russia. So therefore, he was able to pass on the benefits when, at a discount of 30 to 35 to 40%, bridging any kind of aberrations that otherwise would have passed on to the customer, to the common person. So I think that's one thing that he has done admirably well. The second is that India has had bumper harvest in terms of food production locally. So they have built a distribution system for the food to reach, and the focus was domestic rather than exports. Remember that India exported close to 7 million tons of wheat growing from 1.4 million tons, which is, we had covered this in DGI. So I think it has managed very well in terms of what it produces for its domestic consumption. Where there is a big line item on the balance sheet, it has used very successful negotiation to address the cost. In terms of India remains the only country where the inflation is less than 7%, is around 6.2%. Its growth is around 7.4%, but remember that we announced that there was a contraction of 2.9% in the first quarter of this year around the world. And then, of course, their trade balances, notwithstanding all the political rhetoric, is still very strong.
And China is suddenly now wanting to engage with United States, Japan, India, Russia, what have you. It seems to give an indication that maybe all is not well with China. How do you read what is happening with China recently, 𝙒𝙧𝙤? A lot of reaching out. At the same time, they're still rattling saber at Taiwan as well as on Indian border.
Well, I think that the saber rattling is just a rhetoric that is going on. They are confronted with the energy crisis. I don't know whether you picked up
Which
that
one?
in Shanghai, there's a major shutdown and load shedding. They have drought because of significant heat wave that is passing through. COVID situation continues to haunt China. They have industrial, low production and low output. Then you have the real estate crisis. You have the financial crisis. Not much information is coming out, but it is very clear that all is not well in China. When you look at the way they're trying to quote United States, Japan, Korea, Russia, as well as India, is a reflection that they are willing to make concessions while trying to be bravado within to their domestic public.
Sridharji, what is happening in West Asia? Hezbollah says, regardless of whether Iran signs the nuclear deal or not, it is going to continue its attacks on Israel.
Rhetoric, because they know that the Europeans and the Americans are trying to push this deal, and why this nuclear deal is what I'm referring to. What it does, we don't know. But obviously, everybody has a selfish interest. What is the selfish interest? They want the Iranian oil to flow into the economic system, which in turn will bring the prices down. That's what everybody is looking at. And so, therefore, what does Iran do? They continue their rhetoric as far as Israel is concerned.
Sridharji, Iran, just quickly, they can't turn the thing on like a switch and oil is going to flow. They'll need a fair amount of retooling of their equipment, isn't it?
Well, I think that that has been going on behind the scenes in terms of the infrastructure. There has been a lot of latent oil that has been produced and stored. It's not without rationale. It's not without rationale. India went and donated them 8 cranes at the for the Chabar port, basically to help them, to have better navigation and transportation. So I think that there is even any amount of oil flowing from Iran will augment the capacity for the global need.
And in Sahel region, remember viewers that there was always been terrorism. And if one wonders that terrorism has waned in Africa, the recent attack in Mogadishu, killing 20, shows you that it is very much on. And we will give you more updates. But remember, we were one of the first ones to term the word SAHEL, Sahel region. So stay tuned on that. And a federal judge in the United States has ruled that federal oil and gas lease moratorium that was passed by the Biden administration is now completely set aside, or it's called as a permanent injunction for the 13 states led by Montana. So 13 states got together. I think we mentioned this towards like maybe episode 280s or 290s. I remember talking about this, that 13 states are challenging this. So now it's a big victory. It's a permanent injunction. That means you don't even think about it, that sort of stuff. So this sort of is a nose cut for progressives, the way I see it, sir. How do you see it?
Exactly it. That is it, which is namely the states have won. You cannot use an executive order to arbitrarily pass, pronounce verdicts against existing rules and regulations that have been well drafted and framed. Big victory, and the 13 states led by Montana is making the statement. It's a victory for the people. It's victory for the rural communities which are dependent on energy, as well as it is victory for creating jobs around this area. So it's a big news, and it's a big kind of thumbs down to Biden's executive order.
So with the last item coming up, but before that, remember viewers that we all talk about Davos because the glitterati will gather there, but there is a more important meeting that takes place the last weeks of summer in a place called Jackson Hole in Wyoming, which is very close to Yellowstone National Park. We are going to give you every day 2 to 3 minutes of what is happening there, because you'll see all the governors, Federal Reserve governors, plus many other industry leaders who gather there to talk about, and it's actionable, meaning like you get a sense of how the country is going to be headed, how the markets will react, and so on and so forth. So we're going to give you 2 to 3 minutes every day. Please do come back and follow. And also, before the last item, is a very big reveal coming tomorrow about something that happened between India and Russia. India is beginning to flex its muscles. Is all I'm going to say today. I want you all to come back tomorrow in strong numbers. So last item, sir, markets, and then it's a wrap.
Well, I think that the markets are heading towards the rate cut. There's a 0.5% rate cut that is expected, and which will be probably, we'll get a hint of it in the Jackson Hole summit when Jerome Powell, the Fed governor, will give an indication. The markets are factoring in the 0.5%. Technically, Europe is already in recession. So we mentioned this a few days ago that, tighten the seat belts. I think we are in for some turbulent times as we look ahead.
Thank you very much, sir. And that's all for today, folks. We'll be back again tomorrow. bright and early, and talk to you all soon. Namaskar. Thank you very much, sir.
Namaskar. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.